with a look, all that it took.
احنا جينا
احنا جينا
لا تقولوا ما جينا
احنا جينا
يا اخو ما جينا ها احنا
احنا
جينا
جينا احنا جينا احنا جينا احنا جينا.
You gotta wait for me to say my part.
Oh.
احنا جينا لا تقولوا ما جينا
احنا جينا
لا تقولوا ما جينا.
احنا جينا.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum everyone.
احنا جينا. مرحبا بكم في القناة ديالنا. وبالنسبة للناس الجداد اللي ما كيعرفوناش، انا مريم وهذا الراجل جون. الفيديو ديال اليوم ان شاء الله غادي يكون على CR1 فيزا، بناء على الطلبه ديال بزاف ديال الناس سولونا باش نشاركوا التجربه ديالنا ديال الفيزا ديال الزواج، بروسيس شحال خدا ديال الوقت. المهم غادي ندويو على داكشي كلشي اليوم، وغادي نشاركوا التجربه ديالنا والمده اللي خدت لينا. وما تنساوش تشجعونا بالتعليقات ديالكم والاشتراك في القناه ديالنا.
Here we are, back by popular demand. Thanks to everyone that's been following us and the comments that you've given us. That's part of the reason why we're here today, is that, everybody wanted to know more about the next steps in the process. But for those of you that haven't been here before, I'm John and this is Miriam, my wife. We're going to be covering, the visa process that it was for us between the, U.S. and Morocco. It may be different for different countries. One thing we do want to mention is that we are not attorneys. We're just sharing our experience with everybody to kind of let them know, hey, this is the steps that we went through, and the headaches and the excitement that we felt. So, once again, thanks everybody for your comments and your questions on both YouTube and Instagram. Thanks for following us. So really what we want to do today is kind of cover two of the biggest questions that, everybody keeps asking us along the way, and then once we get through those questions, then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about the visa process itself, submitting your application and what it took for us to get through everything.
اول سؤال كيجينا بزاف ديال المرات وغادي نجاوبوا عليه، واش عندكم محامي ديال الهجره اولا شي سيرفيس زعما اللي عندكم، باغ اكزومبل رابيد فيزا اللي كلشي تيعرفوا. دونك بالنسبه لينا حنايا ما استعناش محامي ديال الهجره، مشينا ديريكت لرابيد فيزا، وهذا كان خطا كبير بزاف حيتاش ضيعنا غير الفلوس، حيتاش هما ما كيقدروش يعطيكم لا ليغال ادفايس لا حتى شي حاجه. هما عباره عن وسيط بينكم نتوما وبين اليو اس سي اي اس والان في سي. هما كيشدوا الوراق ديالكم، كيقولوا لكم شنو غادي تجمعوا وكيصيفطوهم. دونك الا بغيتو تسولوهم على شي حاجه، تسولوا الدوسي ديالكم فين وصل ولا شنو خصكم ديروا، ما غادي يعطيكم حتى شي معلومه، ما غينفعكم بوالو. دونك داكشي كلشي اللي داروا لينا في الاول، وزعما الدوسي اللي الوراق اللي خصنا نجمعوا، داكشي كله كاين في جوجل وكاين في الويب سايت ديال اليو اس سي اي اس.
Definitely. All right, so the first question that's been asked a lot of us is, hey, should we go this alone, do it ourselves? Should we pay for a service, or should we pay for an attorney? I guess in a way we kind of did all three.
Yep.
And realized in the end that we wasted a lot of money. Just kind of upfront and honest. The first service that we went through, is we thought it would definitely help us through the process, even though we had been doing a lot of research on the websites, Google, joining some social media groups, stuff like that. We went to Rapid Visa. We initially used them. They did have a high fee. I think it was like $1,000 up front on top of all the other fees that you have to pay. Really what we found in our experience with them is that they were only good for the initial part of the process, which, they have a review of your package as you're putting everything together. But the piece to that also adds complication is you have to submit a paper application. You have to mail everything in. So you have all of these delays through that part of the process. And then it also added additional fees on top of us because of some of the requirements that it drove. And we'll talk about some of those. One of the things that, they couldn't provide us is they couldn't provide us any legal advice. So for us, it was really no different than just going out and reading on a website and
doing the research ourselves.
And doing the research ourselves. So, in our opinion, it wasn't worth paying the money for Rapid Visa to basically give us nothing that a website couldn't. And it was appreciated that they reviewed our package. but really it didn't do much for us because we had already followed all the other requirements. And the research that we did was with the UCIS website as well as NVC website, and we have both of those listed in the comments below. The next question was, hey, should we pay for an attorney? An attorney, there's high fees involved with that as well, and everything, and then you're still going to pay the fees for your visa process on top of that. The only time that we used an attorney was we had received an RFE during the National Visa Center portion of the process, step 2 of the process, and the request for evidence, we just wanted to make sure that we had our letter formatted properly. So the only way we would recommend to use a lawyer is if you had a really complicated case where if you had children or you had a criminal background, it's something like that was going to add a little bit of difficulty to your process. And then, by us only using the attorney that we contacted for the RFE, it was a very low fee for us. I think we paid like $100 or $150 for them to review the paperwork for us, and then that was it. And then, the last piece is the do it yourself, right? So we love doing research, we love working together on things that we do here at the house even, but being able to go out and do all of the research really helped educate us on the process. So as we became frustrated, we knew where to go to get the information, or how were we able to contact people, tracking, everything like that. And so if you're willing to do the research, then I would say, yeah, definitely do it yourself. And the other thing is you're not alone. Like I said in the beginning of the video, there are social media groups out there that we were part of, and it was interesting to see everybody's stories, and that everybody was frustrated at the same parts of the process. And some people had it easier than others. And the best thing to do for the do-it-yourself piece is go out to the USCIS and the NVC websites and just educate yourself through the process and read through things, and then
So long story short, بالنسبه لينا احنا المرحله الوحيده اللي استعملنا فيها اللي كان خصنا المحامي ديال الهجره فاش وصل الدوسي ديالنا للام في تي، كان وقع واحد المشكل، واحد الخطا في شي اوراق ديالي. المهم غادي ندوي على هادشي من بعد في الفيديو. وديك الساعات كان خصنا نجاوبوا على داك request of evidence which is the RFE request of evidence. وكان خصنا ضروري ندوزو من المحامي حيت غير باش نتاكدوا بلي راه كلشي مزيان، حيت كنا وصلنا تقريبا المرحله الاخرى قبل ما يمشي الدوسي ديالنا لكازا، وما بغيناش شي حاجه تعطل لينا الدوسي. كنا نقدروا نجاوبوا على داكشي بوحدنا، ولكن قلنا من الاحسن ناخذوا ليغال ادفايس باش كلشي يكون مريقلي. تاني سؤال second question that we get a lot هو السؤال اللي تيجينا بزاف، شحال خدات لينا الفيزا باش خرجت؟ دونك بالنسبه لي انا تقريبا 9 شهور. دونك دفعنا شهر 2 وخرجت لي الفيزا في اكتوبر. كانت غادي تخرج في سبتمبر وخرجت في اكتوبر. والمشكل اللي طرا هو انه حنا دفعنا شهر 2 والسي كوفيد جا شهر 3 ديك الساعات باش تسد كلشي. المهم راكم عرفتوا القضيه تخربقات ديك الساعات شي شويه، عاد بداو عاوتاني تيديروا البروسيس ديال الدوكيومنتس ديال الفيزا. ومن بعد فاش توصل الدوسي ديالنا لكازا في سبتمبر، صافي قلنا صافي راه غادي ندوز الانترفيو في شهر 9. ترامب خرج ديك لا ديسيزيون باللي الكونسولا خاصها تخدم على لي دوسي ديال الناس اللي ربحوا في القرعه هما الاولين، وتحبس كاع الفيزاز الاخرين. ايوا ديكو بقينا معطلين داك الشهر ديال 9 كله، بقينا كنتسناو حتى سالاو مع الناس ديال اللوتري، عاد ديك الساعه رجعوا عاوتاني للسباوسز فيزا. ايوا هادشي اللي كاين.
A second question that probably been the most popular is how long does the process take, right? You get married and then all you want to do is be able to be together again. So for us, the process was about 9 months. We submitted our paperwork in February, and then it was all approved, and Miriam had her visa in hand at the end of October. One of the things about our process, though, that was unique to what may be happening to you now is we were in the middle. We submitted our paperwork right at the beginning of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. So as everything started shutting down, we were pretty nervous about what was really going to happen. Thankfully, everybody switched to work at home. So, the timelines may be different. And then there were some other things that happened as well from the government side. But then, we also had another delay to our process, which was the reopening of the consulate in Morocco. And then once the consulate did finally open, the President of the United States had deemed that the lottery visas were priority. So any other visa that was in the system got pushed to the bottom of the line, and then the lottery screening took place. It took about 30 days to get through all of that. So, for us, it would have been possible maybe 6 months, I don't know. But hey, we were happy with the 9-month process. So
that's the average.
That's the average. We went out and we looked again. The numbers really haven't changed in like 2 years. The average time on the USCIS website is 8 to 10 months.
Yeah.
So we were right in the middle of that, and we're pretty happy with that. One thing that I do want to note to everybody is that regardless of the option that you use, it's important to be patient through the process and trust it. The long waiting periods between the steps in the process are pretty stressful because, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if there's any other information that's needed or anything like that. And the other recommendation that, people always ask us, hey, how did you guys survive being apart from each other? The best thing to do is, communicate with each other throughout that process and use that time to, look at what the next step is and then what documents are required for those future steps, so you can use your time wisely so you're not scrambling and forgetting things at the end of the process.
Especially help each other. دونك قبل ما نبداو نهضروا على البروسيس والوراق، النصيحة ديالنا لكم هي الصبر ثم الصبر ثم الصبر. الصبر ثم الصبر، وتعاونوا مع بعضياتكم. ماشي حيتاش البروسيس كله كيبدا من ميريكان عند الطرف اللي هو كاين في ميريكان، ولكن هادشي ما كيعنيش باللي الطرف اللي في المغرب يبقى جالس وتيتسنى واجده ياخذها واجده ولا بارده. كيف ما كنقولوا راه تقدروا تعاونوا بالجروبات كيف ما قلت لكم ديال الفيسبوك، يوتيوب، راه فيه فيديوهات ديال الناس بزاف بحالنا اللي شاركوا التجربه ديالهم، حيت كيكونوا بزاف المغاربه اللي ما شاركوا التجربه غير بالعربيه، ما كتكونش الترجمه بالانجلي. دونك كيكون مزيان الا كان الطرف الاخر اللي كيدوي العربيه يشوف دوك الفيديوهات، ياخذ نوتس الا كان شي حاجه يقدر يستافد منها. دونك هادشي اللي كاين. دابا نبداو في الهضره ديال المعقول. Let's get started on the real things.
Yeah, so that kind of the two biggest questions that we have. So this next part of the video, we're going to cover, the process itself. We're just going to highlight the process, talk about our experience through the process, give you guys some advice, lead you in, give you some website information and stuff. But please definitely go out and do some research. Everybody's situation is different.
Yep.
So, once again, and information always seems to update, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's different requirements all the time.
Our information is not the law. It's not what you have to follow by letter. حيتاش البروسيس كيتبدلوا. لا بالنسبه للوراق ديال الزواج، بالنسبه للفيديو اللي درنا قبل في المغرب، راه من مدينه لمدينه ومن ولايه لولايه ومن بلاد لبلاد راه كيكونوا الدوكيومنتس راه مختلفين، وكل عام راه كتزاد شي حاجه جديده ما كتعرفوش، كيكونوا ابديتس في القوانين. دونك الواحد ديما غادي تمشي الفيديو بيان سور يوتيوب ودير لي ريشيرش ديالك، ولكن تمشي للبلاصه اللي غادي تعطيك المعلومه اللي هي موثوقه. دونك بارك من كثرة الجماعه. let's start the process. اول حاجه درت الابوستيل العقد ديال الزواج، النسخه الاصليه والترجمه بجوج بيهم درت لهم الابوستيل في المحكمه. ومن بعد صيفط ليا جون الوراق داك الفورم الاي وانتري سنيتو، حيت قالوا لينا رابيد فيزا راه خص تكون ويت سيغنيتشر، يعني ماشي مسكانيه، ماشي كوبي، ماشي حتى حاجه. درت التصاور ديال الباسبور، الفورما اللي كديروا بحال الا غادي تدفعوا الفيزا ديال الميريكان، ما تمشيو عند المصور تقول لهم بغيتو التصاور ديال الفيزا الميريكان، راه كيكونوا شي شويه عراضين هما. وكوبي ديال لاكت نيسونس، وكوبي ديال لافيش انثروبومتريك مع الترجمه ديال السجل العدلي، هذا اللي تاخذوا من المحكمه. ومن طبيعه الحال الا كنتم مزوجين قبل العقد ديال الطلاق والترجمه ديالو. هادشي يمكن لكم ديروا كله اونلاين. بالنسبه لينا حنايا كان صيفطنا كلشي باكيج بابي في الميل بسبب رابيد فيزا. ديكو كنطلبوا لينا تقريبا كلشي خص يكون دي بابي كما قلت لكم، لا سينياتور تكون فغي سينياتور ماشي كوبي. دونك هذا غير كانت الحاله ديالنا. بالنسبه لكاع الناس اللي داروا زعما البروسيس بوحدهم راه يقدروا يديروه من الويب سايت ديال uscis.gov. راه فيه كاع المعلومات، داكشي كلشي باين موضح كيف ما كتشوفوا، الخطوات باينه، كل حاجه فين غديروا ليها ابلود، فين غتخلصوا، داكشي كلشي باين. So you can go ahead.
All right. So the first part of the process really has to do with the petitioner, which is the U.S. citizen, and that part of there is you start off with submission of your I-130, which is the petition for alien relative. You can either do this by mail or online. Because we did ours through Rapid Visa, we had to do it through the mail, so it that caused additional cost to us because we had to send original documents back and forth through DHL, which was about $100 ago. So we definitely recommend that you do it online. Save yourself some money and some time, so you're not having to wait for everything to go through the mail, and it keeps the process simple and efficient. For Miriam, she did have some requirements to come from her side. She had to get her passport photos in the right size. Then we had to do some original and translated documents. So every document that you submit has to be in English. So you have to translate them. And the documents that Miriam needed, she needed her birth certificate, a background check because she had been married before. She needed to have a divorce decree. And then we also needed an apostle for our marriage certificate, and as well as the original and the translated one. So 2 apostles were needed. And then because we had done the mail-in portion with Rapid Visa, we also needed wet signatures on different pages within the I-130 and the I-130A, which was a supplement document. So I had, Miriam had to print those out and then mail them to me. And then I was able to put them in there.
نكملوا مع المرحله الثانيه واللي هي البونافايد ماريج، واللي فيها كيخصكم تثبتوا باللي الزواج ديالكم جينوين. دونك دونك يطلبوا منكم واحد العدد ديال الاوراق. الا كنتو متوفرين، الا كانوا متوفرين عندكم وما بينهم like joint bank account، الا كان عندكم شي كونت مشاركين فيه نتوما بجوج بيكم، ديروا print statement، او لا كان عندكم شي عقار فيه السميه ديالكم بجوج. ولكن الاغلبيه ديال الناس ما تيكونش عندهم هذا الشيء، وهذا الشيء هو اللي كان لوكا ديالنا حتى حنا. اشنو درنا؟ كاين واحد الفورم كيعمروا مثلا الناس، العائله ولا الاصدقاء ديالكم اللي كانوا حاضرين في الوقيته فاش تزوجتوا في المناسبه. اذا كنتو درتو شي مناسبه، اذا ما درتوش راه كانوا حاضرين او لا عارفين بالعلاقه ديالكم ولا بالزواج ديالكم. دونك كطلبوا منهم يعمروه، يسنيو فيه، تيشهدوا باللي هما راه مثلا الاخ ديالك ولا الاخت ديالك، انا راه فلانه الاخت ديال فلانه كنشهد باللي راه هما مزوجين والعلاقه ديالهم جينوين. صافي كيسنيو فيه، وكل فورم ديال كل واحد كديروا معاه كوبي ديال الاي دي ديال كل واحد. وهذا الشيء هو اللي صيفطنا حنايا as a proof for our like bona fide marriage I think. وصيفطنا حتى التصاور صراحه، واخا قال لكم هما التصاور ماشي كافيين، صيفطنا التصاور ديال العرس، التصاور ديال لي فواياج اللي درنا، التصاور ديالنا مع العائله تا هما صيفطناهم صافي. ومن بعد هاد الطرف الامريكي كيشد داكشي، ماشي حتى الا كان مغربي، المهم الطرف اللي كاين في امريكان كيشد دوك الوراق كاملين كيصيفطهم، وكيخلص واحد $535. وهما راه تيعطيوكم الاختيار كيفاش بغيتو تخلصوا دوك الفلوس، واش بالكريديت كارد ولا بغيتو تصيفطوا لهم الفلوس ولا تشيك. داكشي راه مسهلينه هما.
The USCIS portion of the process, you really have to provide evidence that you have a bona fide marriage. And so the way that they do that is they give you a list of requirements on the website. And as we went through this process, we learned that sometimes extra information is good information for them to have, so then there's no questions. So at the time we didn't have any joint property or bank accounts together. So we did have a credit card together, which made it easier. But then we had affidavit statements from people that were not only friends and family, but from the wedding, and they could validate our marriage and our relationship. On top of that, we also submitted pictures of different things that we did, not only our wedding, but also different times that we spent together to show that it was a continued growing relationship.
دونك من بعد هادشي كتسناو يوصلكم الابروفل من عند اليو اس سي اي اس ديال داك الدوسي اللي صيفطوا ليهم، ولا خصاتكم شي حاجه في ديك المرحله راه كيصيفطوا لكم الار اف اي which ما من الاحسن ما يصيفطوش لكم حيت تيعطل داكشي. علاش غير ركزوا على الاوراق كاملين اللي غادي تصيفطوا من الاول وعمروا كلشي مزيان، السميه حاولوا وفيريفيو الترجمه، داكشي كلشي اللي كيجي من عند المترجم، اي ورقه شديتوها من اي بلاصه فيريفيو السميه ديالكم، لي دات نيسانس فيريفيو داكشي كله، حيت غلط واحد غادي يعطل لكم البروسيس ديالكم. صافي اون فوا كيتابروفا الدوسي ديالكم هما كيصيفطوه للان في سي، كيوصل للان في سي اللي هو ناشونال فيزا سنتر. هنا كيبدا المعقول، وهاد المرحله هذه كتاخذ من شهر تقريبا حتى 3 شهور. حنا تقريبا خدات لينا شهر. It was 1 month from the USCIS to the NVC.
Yeah,
roughly
it was about
1
that,
month. Yeah.
So, when submitting, your petition, you're going to have to pay a fee to start the process. It was $535 to submit it. You can pay that with a credit card or a check.
Yeah, they have a lot of choices.
Yeah, a lot of choices. Credit cards seem to be the fastest. Once you hit submit on that with your payment, it takes about 1 to 3 months before you ever hear anything back. So, during that time, instead of, just going crazy and wondering what's going on, we recommend focusing more on what the next steps are and the paperwork and documents that you're going to need through that part of the process. So then, you can still continue to work together and get the documents you need, so you're not scrambling at the last minute or missing documents through that part of the process. And during that part, we also started saving money for Miriam's flight. So then that way, as soon as everything was done, she'd be able to come home. That was the whole purpose of everything. So
دونك من بعد كتوصلوا بالويلكم ليتر من الام في سي، غادي يكونوا فيها الخطوات اللي غادي تتبعوا. واول خطوه غادي يقول لكم ديروها هي تحلوا الاكونت ولا تكريو ان اكونت في الكونسولار الكترونيك ابليكيشن سنتر. الا خصاتكم شي حاجه تما فين غادي يصيفطوا لكم، وكتخلصوا جوج ديال الفيز. الفيرست في ديال Affidavit of Support which is the I-864 والفيز ديال الفيزا ديال داك دي اس 260 محبوب الجماهير. فاش كتخلصوا كتسناو تقريبا، كيقولوا لكم تسناو واحد السيمانه، عاد ديك الساعات كيعطيو لكم الاكسس باش تبداو ديروا الابلود للدوكيومنتس ديالكم ديال الطرف المغربي، تصاور و بيرث سيرتيفيكيت او باك جراوند تشيك، كاع دوك الوراق اللي دوينا عليهم في الاول هنا فين غادي تحتاجوهم.
So the second part of the process really has to do with everything that's going to happen overseas. And there's like 10 steps to this process. We will highlight some of those. But once the USCIS approves the petition, then it gets moved over to the National Visa Center, which is a completely different department in the government. And for us, it took about a month from the time that we received the notification of our initial petition was approved before it moved over to the NVC for continued processing. They will contact you with a new account number or a new case number. And then through that case number, you're going to go out to the Consular Electronic Application Center, or the CEAC, as you get to say it after a while. Once you get into the CEAC, they have some documents that you're going to have to upload, and they give you a list of those, as well as that's where you're going to pay your additional fees. So the 2 additional fees that you're going to have to submit in the documents, one document is the I-864, which is the Affidavit of Support. The U.S. government does have a requirement for the petitioner to provide documentation stating that you can support the beneficiary once they come to the U.S. And then the fee for that one processing is about $120. And then the second paperwork that you need to submit is the DS-260, which is actually the application for the visa. And then that one was $325. I think that's pretty standard for every country.
I think so.
Yeah, and then from that, the list of documents that are needed are listed on the CEAC website in the account and everything. So you're able
just have to click upload and upload it.
Yeah, click and upload. Now, before you can upload though, you have to pay your fees. And when you pay your fees, wait probably about a week. We waited about 5 days and we were able to start uploading documents. But you have to wait for them to be able to process your payment and get your account set up and everything. Between that, best thing is to be patient. As always through this whole process. We became pretty frustrated because we were like, hey, we've already submitted a lot of these documents. Why are we submitting them again?
It was again because of rapid visa. Because
Yes.
if we did everything on our own from the beginning, it wouldn't be like that complicated. Anyways.
Yeah.
هنا كتبقاو تسناو نورمالمون هذه هي المرحله اللي كتاخذ بزاف. I think this is the part that takes the longest is the NVC part. Usually it's the USCIS and the in between both of those.
Yeah, and then this is the
one
part
of them like take 3 months and the other one takes like what 4 months?
4 to 5 months,
to 5 months, yeah.
And then this was the portion once it got to the NVC, we were surprised. We did get an RFE, which is a request for evidence. And it was nothing that we didn't submit. It was actually based on the translator's errors of the documents coming from Morocco. Basically what it was is the translator misspelled Miriam's last name on 3 different documents, 3 different ways. So we had to provide evidence that Miriam was one and the same person with each of these different last names. And then once we did that, that's where the lawyer came into play. So we collected all the evidence and I drafted a letter as a response to the RFE. We contacted the immigration attorney and she read through the letter, updated the draft once it was updated for proper conciseness to answer the questions. We submitted the documents and everything was approved pretty quick after that.
دونك هذه هي الوقيته فاش تعطلنا واحد شي شويه كما قلت لكم. هادشي باش كينفع تفيريفيو كاع الوراق اللي كيجيو من عند المترجم ولا من اي بلاصه. شديتو شي ورقه فيريفيو السميه ديالكم، الكنيه، تاريخ الازدياد، المدينه ديال الازدياد، كلشي، حيت تيحكروا على داك الشيء بزاف، كيقلبوا على اي غلط باش يردوا الدوسي ديالكم. دونك هنا ولكن صراحه ما عطلناش بزاف. تواصلنا مع المحاميه كاينه هنايا، محاميه ديال الهجره كاينه هنا، قلنا ليها شنو كاين صافي. قالت لنا كتبوا هاد الليتر، شافتها قالت لنا راه مزيانه صافي، وصيفطنا ليهم قبلوا صافي. من تما الدوسي عاوتاني راه كمل عاوتاني الرحله ديالو. اخر مرحله فاش تيوصل الدوسي ديالكم لكازا، راه كيصيفطوا لكم الايميل ديال الموعد فيه التاريخ والوقت والاوراق اللي خاص تجيبوا نهار الموعد. دونك حيت كنشوف بزاف ديال الناس وانا منهم، ملي كنت تلفانه كنقول اش غادي ندي معايا، واش خصني نامبريمي عاوتاني داكشي كلشي اللي صيفطنا للام في سي عاوتاني نديه معايا ولا شنو غندير. هما راه كيصيفطوا لكم لا ليست ديال الوراق اللي خصكم تجيبوا معاكم هذاك النهار، وكيصيفطوا لكم لادريس ديال لي ميدسان اللي غادي تاخذوا معاهم رونديفو، حيت غير خصكم ديروا واحد ليكزامان ميديكال قبل ما تدوزوا الانترفيو. ومن الاحسن يكون قبل لا تدوزوا الانترفيو، واخا انا عارفه راه هادشي صعيب بزاف، حيتاش ديك الوقيته فاش دوزت انايا كانوا غير 2 ديال لي ميدسان اللي خدامين وكان عليهم الضغط بزاف. فاش عيطت لهم انا ديك الساعات في شهر 10 قالوا لي ما عندناش حتى شي رونديفو حتى شهر 1. قلت لهم امبوسيبل نتسنى هاد المده كامله. دونك كانت اختي ديك الساعه، انا ما كنتش ساكنه في كازا، اختي كاينه في كازا، عيطت ليها قلت لها تمشي ديبلاصي عندكم من هذا المنبر هذا، شكرا كريمه. قلت لها غادي نديبلاصي عندهم وشوفي كيفاش ديري، دبري لي على شي رونديفو. هو داكشي افيكتيفمون هو اللي درنا، وهي اللي تكلفت ليا، لقات ليا رونديفو نهار قبل الرونديفو ديال في القنصليه. ايوا صافي نخلي جوني يشرح هاد البارت هادي، ومن بعد ديك الساعه نعاود لكم على التجربه ديال الطبيب والانترفيو كيفاش داز.
Yeah, so this is the time for you guys to start getting excited, right? Woo! We're in the home stretch, but everything at this point shifts from the U.S. side to the Morocco side for us, and everything that needed to be done now shifts from myself to both of us over to Miriam, because everything that now has to get done in the country, and it's all based on her. For us, once it's done with the NVC, they notify you that your package has been forwarded to the consulate. For us, the consulate was in Casablanca. And then from there, Miriam received an email from the consulate when she was ready for her interview. They don't ask you what day you want your interview. They tell you what day and what time you're getting your interview. And then also inside that email, they talk about all the other requirements that you need to complete, whether it's what documents you need to bring, and then also they give you a list of the approved doctors for you to be able to go see for the medical exam that needs to take place. The hard thing and the frustrating thing about that portion of it, though, is for us, there were only 2 doctors in Casablanca that were authorized to do the medical exam, and then trying to get your appointment to coincide with your interview is pretty challenging. So if you don't have family in Casablanca or someone you can, or friends you can stay with,
you'll have to go.
You may have to make 2 trips, right? One to go do your medical exam and then one to go back for your interview. So it would behoove you to make sure that as soon as you get that email and you get your date and your time, start contacting the doctor's offices to try to get your dates to coincide with each other. For Miriam, we were pretty fortunate to get her medical exam the day before her interview. That took some coordination and some joint efforts with her sister to be able to go over and actually, say hi to the office for us. But this is the part that's, exciting and stressful at the same time, right?
It is.
Did you talk about the interview yet, or are you still talking about? Okay, so I did want to throw one thing in there that from a petitioner side or from a spouse side, make sure that you provide support to your spouse through this time. It's stressful in and of itself. You guys are right at the home stretch. Everybody's excited, and your brain kind of goes blank sometimes, So like Miriam, she was excited, trying to rush through the process to get her medical exam done and everything. When she got done, she washed her hands and then she left. Well, it was about an hour or so later, you realized you forgot your ring in the bathroom.
it wasn't an hour. It was an hour. النهار اللي كان عندي ليكزامان ديال الطبيب، مشيت الصباح بكري. المهم كتمشيو عند الطبيب اللي خديتو عنده رونديفو، كتعطيكم واحد 2 لي فاكسان، كتمشيو تشريوهم من لا فارماسي، كترجعوا عندها كتدق لكم دوك 2 شوكات. صافي من تمايا كتعمروا واحد البابي اللي كيصيفطوه هما القنصليه من بعد. صافي وكتعطيكم الوراق باش تمشيو ديروا الراديو ديال الصدر، تحاليل ديال الدم، داكشي داك التخربيق كامل. صافي انا كنت نمشي ديك الساعه للابو، درت التحاليل ديال الدم ودخلت للطواليت، غسلت يديا وحيدت الخاتم خليته تما، خرجت مشيت للابو باش ندير الراديو ديال الصدر، وراه ماشي حدا بعضياتهم. شديت الطاكسي ومشيت جالسه انا مولفه ديما تنلعب يديا بحال هكا، الخاتم تندير بحال هكا، ما لقيتش الخاتم. ويلي درت لي الطن في راسي، تفكرت خليته في الطواليت. اول حاجه هزيت التليفون، عيطت لداك اللابو فاش درت التحاليل، قلت لهم عافاك البنت اللي كاينه تما، قلت لها نسيت الخاتم ديالي في الطواليت. صافي مشيت مسكينه كتجري، لقات قالت لي راه كاين هنا، انا غادي نخليه لك حتى تجي، قلبك كان غادي يسكت. شديت الطاكسي، رجعت خديت الخاتم ديالي والله نرجع عاوتاني باش ندير الراديو ديال الصدر. دونك ردوا البال شي شويه، حيت العقل راه ما تيكونش داك النهار.
I think in all of that process, Miriam ended up calling the office when she realized it, and the receptionist ran in and found the ring still in there. So we were very gracious of her and grateful of her to be able to return the ring. I think I was the lucky one in that whole process, though, because I don't think Miriam would have got on the plane to come home if she would have lost the ring. So once you went through your doctor's appointment, they transferred all the documents over to the embassy for you.
You don't have to go back to them. ما غاديش تحتاجوا ترجعوا عاوتاني للطبيب، حيت هما كيصيفطوا كاع لي ريزولطا وداكشي تيصيفطوهم ديريكت للقنصليه. دونك ما تحتاجوش ترجعوا عند الطبيب مازال. غير سالي النهار ديالكم، سيروا للدار ارتاحوا ووجدوا الانترفيو. انا كان عندي الغد ليه في الصباح، صافي فقت الصباح بكري مشيت، حيت كان عندي الرونديفو الاول جو بونس it was 9:30 I think.
I think it was 9:30
كان عندي رونديفو. صافي مشيت بكري بيان سور، باركيت الطوموبيل. وما تديوش معاكم شي حاجه اللي ما غاديش تحتاجوا تما لداخل، حيت عارفين for security purpose ما تيخليوكش تدخلي مثلا ساكادو ولا شي حاجه كبيره. ديو سويك صغير فيه بسطام اللي غادي تحتاجوا او البسطام ديالكم، الباكيج ديال الوراق اللي غادي يخصكم اللي طلبوا لكم باش تجيبوا، تليفون وصافي. التليفون اصلا راه تياخذوا كتحطوه في واحد الكازيه تمايا، واحد اللاكر، وكتدخلوا. صافي فاش تدخلوا تيقلبوكم، كتوريوهم كتقولوا لهم واحد السميه، هما راه كيكونوا ديجا عارفين، عندهم لا ليست ديال الناس اللي عندهم رونديفو داك النهار. صافي دخلت مشيت كتدخلوا النافذه كتمشي لواحد الشريجم صغير هو الاول كتعطيهم لي دوسي كاملين اللي جبتو كيفيريفيو كلشي كل حاجه مع الترجمه ديالها كيفيريفيو كلشي صافي كياخذ التصاور نورمالمون حنا ديجا كنا خلصنا داك لي فخي ديال دي اس 260 دونك ما غاديش تحتاجوا تخلصوا حتى شي حاجه سور بلاص صافي من تما كيقولوا لك تسنى حتى يسالي القنصل باش يعيطوا لكم دوزو الانترفيو صافي ساليت مع داك السيد الاول بقيت كنتسنى من بعد وصلت النوبه ديالي صافي مشيت عند ديك السيده كانت السيده اللي دوزت ليا صافي قالت لي واش بغيتي دوزي بالانجلي ولا بالعربيه قلت لها لا غندوز بالانجلي حيت عارفه راجل تيدوي كيدوي غير الانجلي ما تيدويش العربيه صافي الحاجه الاولى اللي ديت معايا اضافه للوراق هما هذا كنا قادينها انا وجون فيه الاسباغ ديالنا كيفاش تلاقينا التصاور ديال لي فواياج اللي درنا لي كادو اللي كنا كنصيفطوا لبعضياتنا التصاور ديال العرس كيف ما كتشوفوا المهم قادينا هذا كلشي فيه التايم لاين ديال من نهار تلاقينا وكل بلاصه فين مشينا نهار تزوجنا مع لا دات البلايص فين مشينا لي فامي ديالنا كل واحد كنحطوها هي مثلا كنديرها هي اختي هي صافي فاش شافتو عجبها الحال وبقات كتسولني شفت البروبوزل وقالت لي واو فين كان قلت لها في اسبانيا بقيت كنعاود ليها وعجبها الحال دونك ما بقيتش جالسه تما مخلوعه وكتسولني شي اسئله انا ما عارفاش نجاوب عليهم دونك كانت نورمال كونفرساسيون عاديه صافي سولتني شي اسئله عليه هويا فاش خدام فين ساكن واش عمرني تلاقيت بلا فامي ديالو صافي هادشي اللي كان صافي من بعد قالت لي راه الفيزا ديالك تقبلات صافي عطاتني ديك الورقه الخضراء اللي كلشي كيحلم بها فاش كيمشي يدوز صافي من بعد مشيت للدار تقريبا تسنيت 3 ايام حيت كانت واقيلا الرونديفو ديالي كان الجمعه نهار 3 كان الباسبور ديالي واجد في ارامكس مشيت خديت الباسبور ديالي وانا نهبط لاكادير باش نبدا نوجد باش نجي.
Yeah. So it's nice to see that you're still excited when you start talking about our story.
I am.
All right, that's good. That's good. So Miriam's appointment, like we were saying earlier, was the next morning. I think it was about 9:30. She had to go into her appointment. So it was pretty challenging to park the car. So we made sure that she went to the appointment early. But when you go to the appointment, it's no different than if you guys watched our Getting Married in Morocco video. Very limited things that you can bring into the consulate with you. So just make sure that you double check to have all of your documents with you that were required and asked for of the email, as well as a printed copy of the email as the verification for your appointment.
They don't usually require that because they already have a list in there.
Okay.
But it's good to have it.
They recommend it on the website. So
Yeah.
But the other thing was Miriam was talking about our story. So this is the last mile of the whole process, and the interviewer is actually the one that gets to decide whether or not the visa gets approved. So when Miriam went in there, she provided them with all of the documents and everything. And then the interviewer asked you if you had any other documents to submit. And you said, well, I have our story. And Miriam's excitement and the details that she was able to provide when she started talking about the story got the interviewer so excited and emotional as well that it was pretty much an immediate stamp on the visa saying, hey, you've been approved. And then they told her to come back probably early next week. They said it would take 3 or 4 days to get it processed, but they would call you to tell you when it was done, and your interview was on a Friday.
Yeah.
And by Tuesday,
I think Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, Tuesday I think or Wednesday, she had headed over to the consulate to pick up her visa, and then we both got pretty excited.
Yay!
But then as soon as she called me and said, "Hey, I got my visa," I went to the computer and hit buy on the plane tickets.
Yeah.
So from that point, buying the plane tickets. For us, that was part of the conversation, right? Of, hey, how much time do we want between, you getting your visa and you coming home? Through our discussions and everything, we decided, for her to spend a little bit more time with the family and take care of some things that she needed to take care of there with her friends.
Yeah.
And then from there, a couple weeks later, she was finally home.
Yeah. كيف ما كتعرفوا ديك الوقيته حيت فاش شديت الفيزا كان مازال كوفيد ناشط السي كوفيد كان باقي ناشط كانوا تقريبا الفلايتس محبوسين، وهي الاغباق بوحدها هي اللي كانت كدير لي فول. وكان واحد الفول اللي كاين الامريكان هو اللي يمشي من كازا لنيويورك، دونك ريزيرفينا داك الفول. وكانوا شي اجراءات منهم ديك الورقه ديال المغادره التراب الوطني. صافي كتمشيو كتديو الفيزا ديالكم مع لاكت مارياج، كتديو الفيزا ديالكم مع لاكت مارياج، وصافي تيوجدوا ديك الورقه في نهار واحد كيعطيوها لكم. هذيك ضروريه في المطار، ما غاديش تخرجوا بلا بها. صافي جو بونس هادشي اللي كاين. هذه هي التجربه ديالنا مع سي ار 1 فيزا. من تمايا راكم عارفين كل واحد وشنو تيخصو يدير في ديك الوقيته اللي بقى ليه توجد، الحوايج اللي خصو يشري، الحوايج اللي خصو يجيب معاه. المهم الا كنتو بغيتو فيديو على هاد المرحله هذه واشنو كيدار من بعد، we be more than happy to share with you. So yeah,
we hope that you found today's video educational and instructional. We look forward to your comments and your questions. Just as a reminder, please subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps us bring additional content to everybody else. And hey, we're on here and on Instagram if you guys want to see a little bit more of the different things that we do every day as a married couple, I guess. I don't know. But we really enjoy being able to share things with everybody. So hey, we're just two people bringing two cultures together and enjoying life together and loving each other. So
yeah. فان شاء الله الفيديو يكون عجبكم، وان شاء الله نكونوا جاوبنا على الاسئله اللي جاوبنا. و of course اذا كان عندكم شي اسئله وحدين اخرين you are more than welcome in the comments below ولا في Instagram straight تقدروا تصيفطوا لينا ميساج. هادشي اللي كاين. و good luck for everyone that's going through the process ان شاء الله كلشي غادي يدوز بخير. شكرا بزاف على اللايكس الكومنتس. غير ما تنساوش بليز subscribe and subscribe. So
yeah, thank you for following today's video. We hope you found it educational and instructional. We really look forward to your comments and your questions below in the comment section.
Yep.
Please feel free to follow us on Instagram as well. But please subscribe to the channel because then that way we can continue to bring you guys content about two ordinary people that are, I don't know.
Bye. He talks a lot. Bye. See you next video.
Ciao.
Dama.
Beslama. Maslama. Beslama.